Here comes a new challenger!
Hello there everyone and welcome to Smash Analysis, and in this case we're looking at Pichu, the lovable, adorable little rat. Though we also got the other rat right over there, because why else or who else better to compare to Pichu than the character Pichu is a clone of, being Pikachu. And I just really want to talk about Pichu and how I feel Pichu was gutted because of early Ultimate days. You see, for whatever reason, the people seem to have an influence on the developers. What I mean? Well, they got this character nerfed, along with K. Rool, though K. Rool was able to bounce back. K. Rool, instead of returning back to how he was, he went a completely different route. However, with Pichu, Pichu never really recovered. Pichu's stayed the same since 3.0, and what did they really change about him since that patch? Well, outside of his pummel, all of his other attacks do more lightning, or sorry, more self-damage to him. All of his lightning attacks, so that includes his bear, down air, you know, neutral B, even F-tilt. All of those moves got increased self-damage on Pichu. Another thing they did was they made his shield bigger. However, they made his hurt box bigger, and a cost of this is that Pichu is the same size, is actually taller than Pikachu. Before they were like around the same height, but now Pichu, sorry, is just bigger than Pikachu, which is hilarious, which means that this little guy is much easier to hit than this other little guy. All right, so those were the, oh, and how could I forget, F-tilt also got nerfed in terms of its kill power. You know, I almost forgot about that. Yes, it did get nerfed in terms of its kill power. Most midweights to heavyweights would die around 110 to like 130, depending on the, you know, depending on your weight. But regardless, you know, it used to kill fairly well, and then they nerfed its knockback. You know, it sucks too, because this move was really good at doing two framing, ledge trapping, and taking socks. You know, because Pichu as a character, he's still very good. You know, he's still, most people consider him a high tier, some still consider him a top tier. But why is Pichu falling off? You know, because when this game first came out, you know, for like the first 2 months, a lot of people said Pichu was the best character in the game. But what changed? Was it just because of the nerfs? Well, no, not exactly. Because you see, unlike Pikachu over there, Pichu has to play a certain one way. Pikachu can play both aggressively and passively, or campy, however you want to call it. Pichu, however, is forced to play aggressively. Why? Because Pichu can't just camp with Tejo all the time. Yes, if you get the hits in, obviously you're gonna deal some damage with your projectile. However, you're still taking damage. And obviously, if your opponent knows how to bait you out or punish you, and like say like you try to go for like a grab or tilt or whatever, and they see that coming, they hit you, or whatever the case may be, obviously that damage is going to accumulate along with the damage you're doing to yourself, right? And because of that, Pichu's forced to always be up on your face. Now, that isn't to say Pichu isn't good when he's up on your face, because Pichu has crazy combos, deals mad damage, can kill you off of a single hit. You know, especially near ledge, like you're basically a goner. You know what I mean? Or something like that. You know, I'm not a Pichu man, you know, but I'm not great at the combos. But still, you know what I'm getting at. You've seen the combos yourselves. This character got loops, all that sort of fun stuff. You know, combos off of grab. Up throw is really good for Thunder, right? Thunder itself, unlike Pikachu's, it doesn't send whatever side you're on Pikachu, it just sends whatever direction Pichu's facing. I mean, F-tilt literally has a 100% chance of tripping. 100% chance, no matter how you try failing it, it will always happen. All right, until it starts knocking away, obviously. But for that time period, obviously you can get F-tilt, right? And then down to you know, to imagination, essentially, right? you know, you'd still have to do like reverse up air or whatever after down tilt, but still, Pikachu has some crazy combos and all that sort of stuff. However, what a lot of people didn't know is that if you just run away from Pichu, well, yes, Pichu will eventually catch up to you and could, in theory, take away your stock. You could also force Pichu to constantly try to come after you, throw projectiles, and once Pichu gets caught, Pichu loses its stock, whereas the opponent will still probably be alive. And you know, if you don't get your early percent kill combos, well, then obviously you would need to rely on your F tilt to finish the job at the very least, because it was a safe move with a big hitbox and all this sort of stuff. However, now that they nerfed its kill power, while yes, you can send your opponent off stage, you can't always just rely on Pichu edgeguarding to do the trick. And speaking of edgeguarding and being off stage, Pichu as a character doesn't. Pichu has big hitboxes, but those bigger hitboxes kind of do, you know, damage to yourself. You know, I mean, I guess Nair would be like the only other consideration, but for the most part, when it comes to actually just edge guarding, you're mainly just using T-Jolt, and then if you see an opportunity arise, you go for back air, right? Because back air is super strong, it kills ridiculously early, right, off stage. So of course you can just have Pichu, right, just ledge trap constantly, and then when you're put in a tight spot, Pichu back airs you and you die, right? Makes sense. But when it comes to Pichu itself being edge guarded or ledge trap, unlike Pikachu, right, where Pikachu has an up B that has a hitbox, right, which is really good. Pichu's has more distance, however, has no hitbox and does damage to Pichu. Because it has no hitbox, it's very easy to intercept for most characters, especially characters with large disjoints, who can just catch Pichu's recovery and essentially just take away Pichu's stock. Of course, you can go for different angles, right? And that is something Pichu has access to, just like Pika, but that doesn't really change the fact that like a lot of characters who have either long-lasting moves or big disjoints, or both in some cases, are just going to constantly catch this character. And this character is much easier to two-frame versus Pika. So not only does Pichu have a hard time getting back onto stage at times, sometimes, not all the time, all right, I should make that perfectly clear. I'm not saying that it's impossible, I'm just saying that there will be times where it's going to be hard for Pichu to get back on stage. Even once he gets to ledge, he's still going to struggle. And if he tries to go above, right, like if he tries going above, obviously you can try landing on the platform, but still got quite a bit of lag, right? So, you know, essentially Pichu can have a hard time when backed into a corner, but Pichu itself, once it puts you in the corner, you're essentially going to lose your stock. You're going to take a lot of damage and all this sort of stuff. However, like I mentioned, if Pichu doesn't kill you, Pichu will likely already be at its kill percents, because be mindful, Pichu is the lightest character in the game, and because of that, Pichu tends to die fairly early, right? That makes sense. Yeah, sure, Pichu's annoying to hit, but I mean, just because the character's annoying to hit doesn't necessarily mean that the character's super busted, right? I mean, Kirby's annoying to hit, and you barely see any Kirby's, right? So yeah, Pichu overall from 3.0 got gutted horribly. Now, like I said, Pichu is still a good character, all right? It's just that it's unfortunate that now you really don't have much of a reason to pick Pichu other than you love the character, right? Because Pikachu is literally right there. Pikachu can play two different playstyles. Pikachu has its own kill combos. Pikachu has a very strong neutral. Pikachu can camp. Pikachu can get in. Has grab combos, pancaking, has its own lightning loops, deals crazy damage, right? It's just that Pichu is super aggro, super aggression, super in your face, and once they're in your face, they're gonna do all this crazy stuff to you, and you might panic, and you might lose your stock for it, and that's fine. What I'm trying to say is that Pikachu, unlike Pichu, doesn't have the issue of dying so early and have to worry about it, right? Pikachu isn't a glass cannon. Pikachu's just a cannon. Pichu is more glass than cannon thanks to those nerfs, because not only does, like I mentioned, Pichu does more damage to itself, but Pichu has a bigger hitbox. And because Pichu has a bigger hitbox, Pichu is going to get hit way more often than Pika. And even though Pichu pancakes, as far as I am aware, I don't even think that Pichu pancaking is as good as Pikachu pancaking. So again, it pretty much sucks for the little guy. Me personally, I think Pichu should just be reverted back to its state before 3.0. I mean, it's literally just the same character minus of damage and F-tilt. Though I would also tend to agree, maybe you can keep the nerf to the size, right? It's just that, like, why is Pichu small? Why is Pichu bigger than Pika? This is the part that gets to me. All right, like this is the part that gets to me. Why is Pichu bigger than Pika? That makes literally no sense to me. I have no idea why they did this to Pichu and not Pika. I'm just saying, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, that's essentially all the thoughts I really have for Pichu, because, well, you already know that this character got crazy combos. You don't need me to show them. I suck at doing Pichu combos. I'm not gonna lie, I suck at doing, I mean, I could do, like, I guess, like a rep of a lightning loop, but not right now. You know, because I'd rather not embarrass myself. And yeah, I mean, in terms of pressure, I mean, you know, stupid projectile, I won't lie. I mean, T-Jolt's still T-Jolt, you know, it's still an annoying projectile. But overall, I'd still say Pichu is a weaker character. Obviously, there are going to be matchups where you will prefer Pichu over Pika, you know. I just think that if you're going for a safer option, you would go with Pikachu and then have a secondary for those characters that you feel Pichu would do just as well at, right? Like, if you're looking for a glass cannon character, I would still recommend someone like Sephiroth, right? Or I guess Mewtwo if his tail ever gets removed, right? But Pichu, unfortunately, was sadly gutted. I think out of any Ultimate character, they were gutted the most from patches, because yeah, some characters got nerfed here and there, right? But I feel like Pichu just sort of hard dropped off after the nerfs. K. Rool, as I mentioned earlier, was a character that also got nerfed a bunch, but K. Rool, as I also mentioned, bounced back. K. Rool has become a much better character. In my opinion, the second best heavy in the game, second only to Charizard, right? I think that K. Rool was able to bounce back. I wish Pichu was able to as well, because like I said, Pichu is all aggression, can't camp, tries to camp, essentially is losing by camping, you know what I mean? Right? It's like the opposite of Steve. Steve wins by camping, Pichu loses by camping. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Like I said, I don't think Pichu's a bad character, no, not at all. I just think that in my personal opinion, I feel Pichu was unjustly nerfed. Primarily because people in Ultimate days in Ultimate, like, starter days were complaining too much, right? It's the same thing that happened with, like, say, Little Mac, right, from Smash 4, and he didn't really recover from that ever since. You know, like, who's another character that got, like, hard nerfed, you know, from Smash 4? I'm trying to remember, like, Duck Hunt, I think was one of them. So, yeah, I mean, this is why I hate Smash Ultimate players, especially like the first beginning of the few months. Like, one, none of them edge guarded, but two, people just complain about the dumbest characters because you know, the game's early and they want to whine and complain, say this character's busted or whatever, and then it turns out, oh, they weren't that busted, and then they get nerfed, and it's like, oh well, guess I won't be seeing them anymore, you know. So Pichu definitely got affected heavily, which is unfortunate. You know, this character is cute, you know, it's very fun. But oh well. I hope, like I mentioned, I hope someday Pichu does get buffed back to how he was. I don't want Pichu to like get buffed in other ways, because I think Pichu was just fine before. I just think it was people just being whack, you know what I mean? But that's my take. Let me know yours in the comments below, and tell me if you think I'm right or wrong about anything. I'd love to hear and talk about it. You know, we can always discuss in the comments below. All right, I appreciate you watching this video. Let's get to 1,000 subs, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Please take care of yourself, and yeah, I'll see you later. Peace.
I'm coming through, partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning tread, haha, that's right.